Hey, Thrivers, what's up? I love you guys, and I have a special um episode for you today. I start off with being excited because not only do we survive a stroke, but we're thriving through adversities and through physical problems, and we still here.
That's
So
right.
I always start to get excited when I see you. But tonight is a rather um heartbreaking episode. Um, 70% of marriages end because a spouse had a stroke,
Mm.
and that's heartbreaking. Now I'm trying not to get emotional. I know what it feels like to be in a hospital room and in rehab on my mind myself.
Mm.
And if it wasn't for my mom, Nanisha, I wouldn't know what I would do.
Mm.
And to have that one person
Mhm.
you thought would be there for you
Mm-hmm.
at such a crucial time in our lives,
Mm-hmm.
man, it's tough. And I know a lot of you have gone through or all going through it. So this may be just one of a series that I'm doing because I want to give you guys the best uh, content to inspire you, encourage you, and just to let you know that somebody is out there looking looking out for you. Okay, man, divorce is a complex issue that I want to tackle in a soap survivor community. So my guest today is two people who love each other. You have a passion to coax other couples on the fullness of memories. Now let me explain. The fullness of memories, in my opinion, is having love as the foundation and the continuous growth in areas of communication and growth in maturity that each spouse can contribute. But these two people, man, I love them, and we've been through the transformational speaking and coaching class, and man, just um, funny people to be around, and I want to kind of bring that joy dealing with a very heartbreaking subject. So say hello to Coach Chip and Keisha.
Good
Hey,
evening.
everybody.
Hey,
We're
Yeah,
excited and honored to be here with you, Coach Steve. This is it just really means a lot to us that
it's
you would
all
think of us to talk about, like you said, it is a very important subject.
yeah,
Chip and I are both products of divorce. Both of our parents were divorced when we were young.
yeah.
My parents got divorced when I was 2, so I have no memory of us being a unit.
Oh,
And then
you
you
the
were
yeah.
11,
yeah. I was 11, so of course I have a lot more memory of us having what we're gonna call
the nuclear
the
family.
the
Yeah.
regular family.
Yeah, yeah,
But even with that said, we work with so many couples, and the fortunate thing is that many that we work with they find a way to work it out. But
Yeah,
unfortunately, there are times when the couples that we work with, they really decide that being separate is the best thing for them, which is the unfortunate side to this because it's a reality.
yeah, yeah. And I think that's we're going to find that for the strokes community too. Um, but I hate that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Me and my wife have been married for almost 24 years.
that's
Fantastic.
fantastic.
Beautiful.
And it just breaks my heart that no no one wants to be together, especially during our stroke. Yeah. So I'm calling this episode the diverse dilemma,
Okay.
stay or go.
Hmm.
So how does it portray the emotional struggles faced by couples dealing with a spouse's stroke?
Mhm.
Well, we've not dealt with that level of illness.
Right.
You know how we take the vows for better or for
Yeah,
worse, in sickness
yeah,
and in health. And
yeah,
people say that, but I don't know how soberly. I don't even know how if I really took it to heart, because Chip and I will celebrate 27 years of marriage, 32 together in March. But the thing is that, you hear about the richer for poor, and that's some
yeah,
people can weather those storms. But I think that a lot of times we're not taught when we talk about people will talk about how to have a wedding,
yeah,
how to have an engagement, and we got all that stuff down pat. But I don't know how much we talk about the hard times, going through the hard seasons with our spouses. And I think that's a disservice to each person in the marriage, and
yeah,
it's certainly a disservice to the marriage, right?
yeah,
And so I think that what happens is that when there is not a solid foundation,
Yeah.
yeah,
anything can blow it down, especially something as debilitating as a stroke, because a stroke is it changes everything. It doesn't just change the physical part of the marriage, if the person that had the stroke, whether it was the husband or the wife, physically, there are things that maybe are challenging for the person that had the stroke. Some things you just can't do. It affects your finances. It
yeah,
affects it's so many things that I just think that we've not prepared people in marriages to
yeah,
say, what do we do if this happens? You
yeah,
understand? So I think that it's the foundation. That's what I would think. But babe, I would love to know what your thoughts are.
yeah,
You know, the thing that I'm hearing and I'm seeing, and it's shocking when you give me that number, Steve, when you said 70%. That, I mean, we're saying that's 7 out of 10 couples, and that
I know.
really is disheartening,
Yeah.
you know. But when you start talking about a stroke, there's so many more things that now are happening.
Mm-hmm.
As
Yeah,
you know, much better than we know, you're debilitated. You uh you're taking to a new place in your thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're having to fight through your own battles of who you were to who I am.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
And now I have to also fight off what happens if I am alone.
Mm.
yes, yes,
You know, those are very concerning things because now you have to do life. You may have to do life independently.
Yeah.
isolated.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, it's just, I think it's just it's really about the prep work, the foundation, and the communication, like you even said. Chip and I know a lot of people say that, well, communication is key, communication is key, but it's really having the what we would call, like, oh, well, that conversation doesn't matter. No, it matters. Like, just things about, we've had conversations about if something happened and say one of us were to be in a coma. Like, we've had these conversations, and then we've even also, we know we need to put it in writing, with an attorney, because, different family members, if they're children, if they're parents, if they're siblings, well, they didn't want that. But yes, because what you confide, my mom calls it pillow talk. So in the times of that pillow talk, there are things that I have shared with him about my fears, about my, just all the things about myself physically, because he's walked with me through, I've had multiple surgeries in between, after having had 3 kids and all of that. And then Chip suffered a massive heart attack in 2017. They call the widow maker. So only 3% of the people that have the heart attack that he had, because his main artery in his heart was 100% blocked, only 3% of the people survive it.
Yeah.
So, so we've talked about these things. I know what he wants. He knows what I want. But if those conversations are never had, again, it's chiseling away at the foundation, because I'm sure, and you could tell better than anybody else. You, as Chip said, when you are the person that has suffered a stroke, you are contending with not only the physical changes, but then you're emotionally feeling some way, and that could lead to depression. So all of that plays a part.
And mental.
Yes.
And relational.
Yes.
And your relationship have a different dynamic now. And that was, having me when the first got in rehab. But I thank God that I had a relationship with him.
Yes.
That Steve was still there.
That's good.
I didn't fall into depression, although I had it. I didn't fall into suicide, although I had it. So, man, this is so good. That got so much. I got 2 more questions, but man, that was so good. The second question I have is, what factors, both emotional and practical, could help couples navigate the decision-making process when confronted with a significant health event like a stroke?
No, go ahead.
I think, again, it goes back to, my grandmother used to say it this way. She would say, prepare for war in times of peace. So we don't wait till the house is on fire to then say, oh, well, what are we going to do? Or how are we going to handle this? It really, when we are in relationships, of course, we can't plan. Like, nobody planned for you to have a stroke. We couldn't have scripted that Chip was going to have a massive heart attack. So those things we can't, of course, things happen. But I'm saying, again, going back to, it's the foundation. And it's about, let's talk about what if, and I think that a lot of times I think that it's a bad idea to start off a relationship with deal breakers. When people say, well, I would never take that. Or, if women say, well, if he doesn't have a job, and if he can't do this, and if he can't do that, then I would never stay, or I would never marry a man, or I would never, we start making these deal breakers. Or when a man would say, we have a good friend that has a very aggressive form of breast cancer. So, of course, and she had to have a double mastectomy and all of these things and a hysterectomy. And there were so many things that changed her physical body and then as well as her emotional body. They have a young child. So if her spouse would have said, well, I don't want a woman that don't have, her natural breast or, whatever. And so again, I think practically do away with the deal breakers. And then, inevitably, like if we're driving on the road and you know how you see an accident on the side of the road and they tell you don't look, but you just look at the accident, they call it rubbernecking, you start to veer in that direction. And I think the same thing happens with us in our relationships. If all we are focusing on is what we're not going to take, what we're not going to tolerate, your mind, you start to go in that direction. So like say if you have trust issue, say if you say, well, if my spouse cheats on me, regardless of what happens. Well, you start to, whoever the person that made that proclamation, they unconsciously start having a self-fulfilling prophecy in that they start talking about, the Bible says, as a man thinks, so is he.
So is he. Yeah.
Right. So if all I'm thinking about, well, is he cheating? Is he cheating? Is he cheating? And then I create a very unhealthy and toxic environment.
Yeah.
So then now the relationship is going down a road that it may not have, but because I kept speaking that, I kept what we rehearse, we don't disperse.
Yeah.
See what I mean? So practically, don't play. I tell people in relationships, don't play not to lose, play to win. Like when I get up and when I think about my husband and our marriage, I'm not thinking about what he might do wrong or what I might do wrong. I'm thinking about how can we make this richer? How can this marriage be as fruitful? Because what can I do to invest in him and that he invests in me so that we can have an uncommon, no pun intended, marriage. You see what I mean? Yeah. So that to me is the practical side. And it also brings with it the emotional and the mental side of it.
Yeah.
Steve. All right, here's the thing I think on this. To survive a stroke, I think a couple of words I want to use here. To survive a stroke, you got to have a system, a strategy, and a success plan.
Yep.
Now, and I said I'm going to start with a success plan because if you are the person who has suffered a stroke, if I am the spouse, my number one goal is to tell you, you're going to come through this.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
You're going to be, we're going to face this together.
Yes.
But I need your buy-in.
That's right.
So as the person who's going through it, as you did, you went through it. But the success plan came from your spouse that says, no matter what, you're going to get through this. I'm going to stick with you.
Yeah.
And we're going to find milestones along the way to your recovery.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You never fully be who you were.
Yeah.
But where you are right now to where we're going to get you to is a success plan.
That's good.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. Second thing, a system. How are we going to get there? We're going to get there through, and you can fill in the blanks. Is it therapy? Is it through the PT, OT, all of those?
Yes.
Right? But in those therapies, there's also honesty.
Yes.
We've got to have honesty
So good.
Yeah.
about where we are, where we're going, and where we are right now, where we have come from,
Yes.
and where
Yeah.
we're going. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then a third thing would be a strategy. Well, our strategy says when we come through this with our success plan, when we move from this with our system, what are we going to do different?
Oh my gosh. Man, you said something there. You said something because the main reason why I had a stroke because I was eating junk food, fast food. And the first strategy I had when I was still in rehab was eating fruits and vegetables and lean meats.
That's
And
good.
and have been on a path to the point where I only eat fruits and vegetables now.
Wow.
Yeah, I lost a lot of weight. I was 255 in the hospital.
Wow.
Really?
Yes, 164 now.
Oh,
Wow.
yeah. You
That's
have to go
fantastic.
skinny.
Yeah.
Yeah, but man, astrology is everything, and I'm trying to encourage my brothers and sisters who had a stroke to find your own recovery plan. You know that the OT, the PT, and the doctors will have their plan for you, but invest in your own life.
That's right.
Yeah, and you have to invest also in somebody who is you have chosen as your spouse.
Yeah.
And this next question, I think, deals with that, and it is what role does communication play in navigating the difficulties of commitment after our spouse has a stroke, and how do couples effectively address their concerns?
Oh, that's so good.
Give me the last part of that question again.
How do couples effectively address their concerns?
Their concerns. Yeah.
All right. So it goes, one of the major, like we started with a little bit earlier, was honesty. And I think not the one who had a stroke,
Right,
but the one who
caregiver.
the caregiver has to be honest, has to have the ability and the platform to be able to be honest.
Yes.
On those days where they are worn out.
Yeah.
Because they have helped you, they have helped the family, and they have done all of these things.
Yeah.
They have to be able to say, I'm tired.
Yeah.
I need a moment. And my moment does not mean that I am leaving you. It simply means I need to recharge.
Yeah.
Right? And so on the other side, the person who had the stroke also has to be able to say, I'm not sure if I can do this. I don't see the progress that everybody told me I was going to have. It's taking longer than I thought.
Yeah.
Right? I'm growing weary.
Yeah.
I'm ready to faint.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have to be able to have that open place to be able to say that as well. Because as you know much better than we, this road is not easy.
No, not at all.
Not at all.
And you're going to have days where you think you're making good progress, and the next morning you're taking 2 steps back just because.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that open dialogue, or and even if Keisha takes me to therapy, and that particular day I didn't really work hard. That particular day, I kind of, called it in. I didn't push.
Yeah.
I didn't, take them extra steps like I was supposed to. She got to have the ability in this open conversation to say, you slacked today.
Yeah. Yeah.
You put yourself a day behind your progress, and I could have been somewhere else, but I came to be with you, and
Yeah.
you didn't commit yourself today 100%.
Yeah.
And for them to be able to have that open opportunity without you holding it against them,
Mhm.
or feeling like I knew you wasn't gonna be here
Yeah,
for
you're
me.
not, yeah,
You
you're
know,
not
Yeah.
around.
that extra.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
it has to be accountability on both sides because
Yes.
we're going through this together.
Yeah. Yeah.
This whole fight is us. It's not just you.
It has to
Yeah.
be. I think all of that comes down to that honesty, that vulnerability, and that we're in this together. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, and you're free to feel how you feel, and then your spouse is free to feel how they feel, and then to be able to say, you have to be able to hear as the person that had the stroke.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Say, I'm scared.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. It scares me when I see you, if you fall or almost fall. It scares
Yeah.
me
Yeah.
that if you are, say you get the flu or a cold, something that for someone else, it might not be that big of a deal, but because what it could mean for your progress because you
Yeah.
had this stroke. So I think, like, to Chip's point, I totally agree that the marriage has to be a safe space.
Yeah. Yeah.
We have to be free to feel how we feel. And our
Yeah.
prayer to God is that God, don't let us both be down at the same
Yeah.
time. So
Yes.
if your spouse is having a bad day, they are worn out, like Chip said, they've been, because life has to continue to go forward, right?
Yeah. Yes.
In addition to being committed to my spouse's recovery. But
Yeah. Yeah.
even iron wears out. So we have to be able to say, so it's the prayer is that God keep me strong in the areas where he is weak. And then the same thing, that should be the same prayer for you. Keep me strong in the areas that she's weak. And
Yeah.
it's okay. And it's not the end of the world. It's like when I did a fitness and weight loss program, my coach used to say, it's okay to have a cheat meal, but don't have a cheat day. Don't have a cheat week. Don't have, you see what I mean? To where we
Yeah.
completely fall off the wagon of our progress. Like, like, say, like to Chip's example, if you had gone to PT and you just weren't having a good day and you just didn't give it all you had, I would see myself saying, you get one. So that was it. Today was your day. I hope you feel better tomorrow or Thursday or whenever it is that you go, because we're not doing that. That's not going to become a habit. You see what I
Yeah.
mean? And like, we have to be able to hear that, to hear if you say it's rough today or this week has
Yeah.
been rough or whatever you're feeling.
Yeah.
Your spouse here's the thing. We might be fragile, but we're not delicate to the point that, you see what I'm saying? Like, if you drop something that's delicate, it's gonna go to pieces. Sometimes if you drop something that's fragile, it might get a crack in it, it might get a nick in it, but it won't necessarily break completely down. So it's okay to have some fragile areas. And it's okay to feel however we feel, whether I'm the person that has suffered the stroke or whether I'm the caregiver of the person that suffered the stroke.
Yeah.
The point is that he and I will tell each other, like when he lost his mom 2 years ago, and I'm like, you don't owe anybody your strength. So if you want to kick, scream, fall out, cry, that's your mom. So I'm never going to say to you, oh, well, don't cry. No, if you would need to cry, if you miss your mom, if you mad that day because you just thought about whatever it is, the point is that trust your partner that they can take it. They can take it, even though it's you that had the stroke. If your wife is having a day where she's just nervous, she's concerned, she's tired, she's weak, whatever, she has to be able to trust that you can handle it.
Right.
You can take it. That you might be fragile, but you're not so delicate that you're gonna fall apart. And I think that's the basis. And again, it goes back to that foundation. Prepare for war in times of peace.
Yeah, yeah. I really like that Coach Keisha and Coach Chip. Everything that you have said has been a blessing. I really don't want us to stop this interview, but I feel a little bit better. Um, but all it is probably have more strength and encouragement from the things that they heard, and I'm hoping that our we can continue on this conversation.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because like I said, I'm gonna be all serious. Because this is something that's near to my heart,
Yeah.
and I just hate the fact that a person who had us to has to also lose somebody. That's just the worst thing that I can ever think of.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be here for them. I'm going to them to have something that they can grab hold of and keep going, keep driving. Like I said, yeah. So how does anybody get in contact with you?
Well, good question, and thank you for offering that. You can follow us on Instagram, and it's uncommon, and that's spelled UNKCOMMON. And so Chip is putting it in the chat so you can see it. It's a one. No, it's just and it's right next to it. Yes. So that's how we're on Facebook and on Instagram.
Okay.
They're both uncommon one.
Okay.
Yes. And we have a YouTube channel that is just uncommon. It doesn't have the one after it, but it's still spelled the same way. UNK for Keisha, C for Chip, OMMON. So that's how we can be follow. And please do like, follow, and share with us as we just regularly drop relational gems as they're dropped in our spirit. So I think that I want to say thank you again for reaching out to us and considering us to speak to your audience. And we are so proud of you and all that you are doing, because it's not only are you coming out, but you're bringing your brothers and sisters with you. And that is what we are all called to do.
Yeah.
Which is to, when Jesus told Peter, he said, and when you are converted, when you get it together, when you get it right, strengthen your brother, go get somebody else. So you didn't just go through this just because you went through it. God knew, first of all, that he could trust you, that you were not going to deny him in this season. And he also knew that you would help somebody else who maybe their outcome was not like yours, but you give them hope and you give them encouragement. So we praise God for you, and keep doing what you're doing. Better is already here, because you, like you said, you are thriving. You didn't survive a stroke. You're thriving through it. So, and somebody else may not have a stroke. Somebody else their marriage may not end in divorce because of what you're doing and what you're saying. So we just pray blessings upon you.
Yeah, hoping that turning this shit will grow to where we can be like 70%.
That's it.
And so survivors, hey, we want charges. Hang on in there. Keep keep looking at my page, Coach Steve White, Coach Stephen White. That's the expert at IG. Coach Stephen White for YouTube. We want to provide you with a way that you could find hope. Find hope. Yeah. Man, I love you guys. It's good seeing you.
You too.
Always our pleasure.
And this will be the last time we talk. And to all of my stroke survivors and caregivers, God bless you. I love you, and we will see you the last time.
All right.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, buddy.